I mean, to be fairly honest, I'm here as a tourist because I have nothing prepared. I'm just here. I'm gay. I hope it's gonna be enough.
Yeah, same. You
Okay.
know, that's the gay mentality, though. Like, you know what? I don't know what this is, but I'm gay. I can do it.
That's the clip for the intro right there.
I am all ears. The Ghost Fancast.
Hello, welcome to the I Am All Ears podcast with me, Alva. Today we are going to be talking all things LGBTQIA+, and how Ghost ties into that. Whether that be the imagery that Ghost use, some of the causes that they support, or just some stories by you guys and a couple of us with how Ghosts have helped with either expressing our sexuality or coming to terms with gender or such and such. And yeah, so today I'm joined with Alana, Nid, Katie, Shanti, and myself. Well, welcome.
Hello.
I'm here
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So we're all here today because I'm pretty sure the majority, if not all of us, are somewhat a little bit fruity. And we all happen to like ghosts, so I think we can talk about this today.
we just the song like fruit salad.
Yummy, yummy.
Yummy.
But even not, even if not, it's all cool. We can discuss things.
Yeah.
We're all chill here.
We're inclusive. We don't mind if you're straight.
Oh,
You can't help it. You were born that way.
exactly. I mean, I actually joked earlier that ghosts have made me more straight because suddenly I like men a lot more. Oh my god. I'm so straight for this man.
Shame on those. Counterproductive. The opposite of what was meant.
Exactly. Alright, so let's get started. So Alana, you're up first. What have you got to say with ghosts? Have they sort of ever helped you out with your sexuality, your gender, or is there anything that you just particularly like that's very gay of them?
Well, I just like the fact that they're like just super gay, because like very early on getting in, like I'm not a fan of ghosts very long. That wasn't English. That sentence wasn't Greek grammar, but whatever. We're gonna go with it. But I noticed pretty quickly the kind of diversity of the fan base, and with a lot of metal music and rock music in general, it's very white male. You know,
Yes.
like you look at that, you try to kind of find a new band, look at the audience, and go, "That's a lot of dudes. I'm not going in there," and then kind of close the door and walk away from them. You know,
Yeah.
so but like opening the door to ghosts and just like, wow, that's just a lot of gay in here. Cool, you know. So that was probably one of the first things I kind of really noticed with Ghost when I kind of started getting really into it. Like, it's very refreshing, you know, to see that kind of acceptance in the kind of metal community. And I always kind of put that as a reason why a lot of people say Ghost isn't like real metal, because they don't, because he's so flamboyant on stage, and the audience is clearly very gay, and lots of ladies, you know, so like lots of dudes are kind of just like, that's not real metal, and I'm like, okay, sure, but Rob Halford loves him, so.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that's kind of my starting point. Please.
Yeah, it's funny when we were at Tons of Rock Festival and we were waiting for Ghost to come on, and like Pantera was on beforehand. That was fucking brutal. I was like, I'm too gay for this. I can't deal with these like masculine people trying to kill me right now. Like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Like, where's the colors? Get off stage! Where's my Disney princess?
Where's my coochie meow meow? No, it's funny just like how like this assumingly straight white man has just brought a bunch of gay people together.
Yeah, I like the idea of him looking out in the crowd and being like, huh. This is not what I expected. This is all right. I'm gonna make it gayer.
He plays into it though, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
So funny. Okay, so I've got a reader story. Forgive me, I'm not very good at reading out loud. It's the tism. So They messaged me saying, "Hi, I'm a French ghoulet. My pronouns are she, her. I've been a fan of Ghost since 2021 at the release of Hunter's Moon, and now my love for this band is huge. That's why I have made this account. I'm a member of the LGBTQIA plus community because I'm bisexual, and I have been affirming my sexuality since high school. Nowadays, I have the most amazing girlfriend in the world who is lesbian and who I made a fan of Ghost too. Every day we struggle against homophobia, and I have to face biphobia. We are often hypersexualized, or the opposite. We are called whores. But I'm greatly encouraged that there are LGBTQIA plus people or allies, and I love them all so much. In the Ghost fandom, I've met a lot of members of the LGBTQIA plus community with a lot of tolerance who support feminism, LGBTQ plus viewpoints, and anti-racism, etc. I went to their last concert in Lille with my girlfriend and my friends, and we're all shared with love and kindness. The guesties are a very secure community, or at least the ones that I have met, and I feel safe and accepted in the Ghost fandom, which is so sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
I noticed that
That's
too at the
really lovely.
rituals. It's just like everyone, well, apart from a certain few individual people, but we're not getting into that right now. But in general, it's a fun place where everyone just sort of can be themselves and feel comfortable in their skin and just feel like nothing else matters and everything's all chill and handy dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's very refreshing.
Yeah, exactly like what we were saying with the terms of the metal community, where it's like very alpha male dominated, like bleh.
Yeah. It's like, I think Tobias even said once, like a lot of death metal shows he goes to, he gets a very rapey vibe from it, and you're like, oh, no, don't want to be in there. You know?
I'm gonna skedaddle out of this.
Yeah. Like, I've loved death metal my whole life. Never would ever risk going to a death metal show. Don't feel safe enough. You know?
No.
Like...
No.
I'm not that brave.
And it's also nice how he is very protective of looking out for everyone in terms of not just obviously with gender and sexuality, but in terms of size and all sorts, where it's don't try and be a dick and push people and hit people and there's small people here, be respectful. Whereas obviously, because he's come from a death metal scene, you'd think he'd be the opposite, where it's like, yeah, fucking open this motherfucking pit up.
Yeah, but he's also dad.
He's so dad.
He's so dad. He's like, there's kids here. Calm down. Don't make me use my inside voice.
Okay, Nid, have you got anything you want to share? Fire away.
Well, I have a few things all put together. I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw 5 different themes and ideas, but yeah.
Go for it.
I can't really say that Ghost has done really anything more than I already did to myself for my sexuality and stuff.
Yeah,
because the autism took care of that. So, but I like that. There's a lot of different aspects of Ghost that helpful and also meaningful and stuff. Like, I remember Tobias talking about the way Secondo, for example, explored his feminine parts with having flowers in his robes and stuff. So I think he seems to have a very for a guy, he seems to be very connected to what we call the feminine side, which is very nice, and can understand the empowering side of it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure it was meant for it. I don't that wasn't the main idea, but I think that the idea that the ghouls have masks seems to be for cosplayers and stuff very, very useful to get gender euphoria when they cosplay with the mask. And that's something I've noticed because, on TikTok and stuff, I look a lot of cosplay video, and I've noticed that a lot of, in both sides, but I've noticed a lot of trans guys get that big gender euphoria when they put on the mask and they put on the outfit, and then they can yes, this feels good. Or there's lots of other that cosplay the papas that when they put on the makeup, they're like, yes, gender euphoria, that's good,
Yeah.
So, and I think the fact that also the papas have like all of them, they had that fruitiness to their character.
Yeah.
But that was a fruitiness that was represented very empowering. It was very positive. It was not like cliche or weird. It's shown very, very positive, like very empowering. And that's a good thing, because I feel like for a lot of trans people, it's hard, and they don't necessarily all, like, I'm not speaking for everyone obviously, but a lot of them seems to not very want to really go to the extreme opposite. They don't want to go to the extreme hyper feminine or hyper masculine. And sometimes they want to, but it's harder. So it's nice to see representation of men,
middle ground,
and women that are connected to that middle thing. Because, like, for example, also the Goulettes, I'm sorry, but on stage sometimes they extrude like raw masculine energy, very powerful, and you're like, oh, lady. So that's I think that's a good thing also to show on stage. So overall, all that thing that I talk about, it seems to be very positive, and it seems to be coming from Tobias, that appears to be very
genuine,
good in his own fruitiness, I guess.
Yeah, he seems very comfortable in himself too, like where it like radiates this kind of nice, genuine, comfortable thing of like, I may be a straight white male, as far as we know, just disclaimer. But like it doesn't come across as him trying to satiricalize anything, or like like try and be this character. And I don't feel like he's baiting anything with it as well. It's quite nice. And also he's created like these characters where it's like on stage he'll say things like, oh, I'm gonna fuck all of you guys, you too, sort of thing. And like he's not afraid to like do that. And also he's created these characters where it's nice because there's a lot of headcanons and things like that where people can find comfort in. Like, I know a lot of people, quite a popular headcanon is that obviously Copio is trans and he's got scars and stuff, and people relate to that and find comfort in it. And it's just like, and I think he's been asked about that before, was it in Metal Hammer or something, and he was like, yeah, that's cool. And that's so nice. It's so nice.
Also, can we talk about they Marigor, please?
Oh yeah, they Marigor.
Marigor, like, he dropped that, and everyone on the internet was like,
everyone died. People died that day.
People died. That was like a war zone of just they them scattered across Warfield, of just like lying there like.
I've been summoned. I've been seen.
People falling downstairs.
Little thought for Andy, who asked the questions. Thank you.
Andy. Thanks, Andy.
But I love it as well. What I love about that clip is you can see him think about it. You know what I mean? Because he says it. He's somewhere, and then he kind of looks at the camera, and then there's like you can see the cogs turning, and then he says, "Or they," and I'm like, you can't just say that, like. And then walk away like he didn't just like throw a grenade into a room of very traumatized gay people, like
I think it means a lot to so many people though, because Mary as well, whether it's like the 2010 Mary or the long hair Mary, I've seen a lot of people who may be like female to male, and they're going through their journey of transitioning, where they find Mary Gore as like complete gender envy, and it's like, give me your gender. So he like Mary is such a staple icon for that type of gender euphoria that I think that just helps affirm everything.
It's the twink effect.
It is.
The twink effect. Like you see Mary Gore like full of blood on stage, and you're like, twink.
Yes, I want that gender, please.
But I was gonna say, like, one of the things we were saying about, him saying about he's fine with people kind of headcanoning the characters as trans or whatever. I remember reading in one of the art interviews he did. He said, like, for a long time, like, only him and one other person cared about the characters of Ghost. So having all these people now who want to contribute is something he never thought would happen. So like, and I think that's so lovely for him too. Like he's like, yes, give me all of your ideas.
We're writing the story for him. Yeah. So Mia sent me this. My name is Mia, but I go by many nicknames. Mia and Damien are the ones I use most. I'm closeted to my family, but my closest friends and people on Twitter know that I am agender, transmasculine. I am 31 years old, and I've contemplated going on testosterone in the future. I'm also bisexual. Copia's character has given me incredible comfort and confidence to work towards a future I can be proud of. His non-toxic masculinity and Tobias's non-toxic masculinity in general makes me want to strengthen my own. I want to go into drag and voice acting because of him. I still struggle with this day with my mental health and suicidal ideation, but Ghost helps takes the sting out of living. But yeah, it's so sweet. Like they help with that. Yeah. Anyone who sent messages, by the way, thank you for sharing because some of you were quite vulnerable, and it means a lot that you opened with this. But yeah, it's nice that as a community as well, like we can all kind of come together and talk about these things and be here for each other, as well as obviously the band themselves.
It's just
It's very
really
sweet.
sweet. Yeah.
Jinx.
Jinx. But it's just so sweet. Like it's like, like it's kind of like the idea of like wandering through a fog and like coming out the other side and finding this thing. Like it's like finding this place where you can feel safe, and it's a very rare feeling to find something like that can really affect you so deeply. Like
it just feels good feeling like yourself in a certain community. It's like you're home in a certain sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of like fandoms and stuff where I think it's been not as tolerant because it's not a big deal to them. So like there's a lot of things. Whereas I feel like in the Ghost fandom, if anyone was to say anything, was straight up on the defense and like it's like, no, you don't stand for that shit here, get out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Well,
it creates
wonderful.
I think it kind of goes hand in hand though with the kind of ideas of like like Satanism as an idea as well, because like the ideas of Satanism are it's kind of it's basically like if you weren't accepted over there, you can come over here. We won't judge you. So like it feels like that's why Ghost like that's probably the apart from the fact that he's like clearly Satan's a hyperfixation for this man. It's a great way of kind of using, because like I'm trying to think how more than this, like the idea of Satan changed so much over years, but like now the idea of Satan is more of like a cast out, like if you look at like the TV show Lucifer and stuff like that, there Satanism is an idea, it's kind of like that too, where it's like you were cast out from Christianity or Catholicism or wherever, but we can accept you, we'll accept you, we don't want to judge you, we don't want we don't want you to hurt yourself, you're safe here. And then I think like that's part of the reason why Ghost feels so comforting, as well, because again the ideas of Satan and stuff like that on top of it, which is funny when you say it with outside of the idea, like if you're not into kind of Ghost, you say no, the idea of Satan's really actually quite comfy, and they're like, is it?
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah, that's
so yeah.
A lot of people are like, huh?
Yeah.
Satan is nice. What are you? What?
Satan's the good guy here.
Yeah, he's just an English guy that runs a bar in LA. Did you know that? He's got daddy issues. I can relate.
Don't we all?
I was gonna say, who in the Ghost fandom, raise your hands if you don't have daddy issues. Everyone's hands are down.
Hands.
I don't see any.
See one person at the back just kind of slowly going up and it's like, don't lie. I'm just going back down again.
But I think what's quite nice as well is obviously like nowadays it's what's great. Obviously we've still got a long way to go, but there's more music acts or public figures that like are coming out as sort of queer or like non-binary, like, or just not straight, and like it's becoming more and more accepted, and there's more like music acts that are like fronted by queer people and such like that, and those are great role models to have. And I know this is very like I'm giving him props for just being a basic decent human being, but it is nice when you see Tobias as like an ally, even though he's not necessarily going through these things himself. Like so I've got written down here, obviously, the quote from when he was talking about why he chose to do Enter Sandman and what charity he picked for it. And he said, they also asked us to pick a charity to support. And I heard about this organization camp called Camp. Oh, fucking hell, I can't say this word.
Same. It's so hard to say, but
It's like Camp Aranuik, I want to say. It's ARANU apostrophe TIQ. I apologize. I'm not very good at the words. It says that was organizing summer camps for transgender kids. I felt that this was a cool little connection because the track is being sung to a child and also has a threatening but comforting hand being sort of held over the kid. So it felt like, fuck yeah, that's something we can completely support. And the way royalties flow, the more we play it live, the more money is generated for them. So we knew we had to play it on this tour. Every time we play it, more revenue ends up in their hands and allows these kids to go to these camps. Many of these kids don't dare be themselves where they live, so these camps are good for that. Majesty! Fucking yes! We
So
love you!
good.
It's so good. So good. So dad. We love dad.
Yeah.
so that.
No, but I was gonna say what's interesting is because we have so much kind of material from him from being a teenager, like those zines and stuff he wrote. You can see his own kind of journey, but you can see his own journey with the idea and stuff, like growing and learning. Like I think, kind of off topic a second, but I love the fact that those zines exist and that he was a little shit, like that he was an absolute little shit, but he's not now, and it's a great way. It's like, say you can change, you can learn and life is a growing process. So because I remember one of the ones he was talking about, I can't remember what it was, but he said about like he felt like he didn't have to cut off his gender. He was talking about, stuff like that there, and like he said about like female metal singers and stuff, he didn't like them, and now as he's an adult man, who's not a teenager anymore, he's like, I love metal singers that are women. I'm going to bring all of them on tour.
Hey, the last pretty much all of the support acts were female fronted on the last. Well, not all. Like I'd say 80% of them are, and like the Brazil shows, it's a female act, and fuck yeah.
Yeah, and it's just and like even when he's talking about gender and stuff too, like the they them thing, and like there was that interview he did where he said like his favorite version of the devil was from Passion of the Christ because it was like so non-binary in the sense where it was like a woman with a man's voice coming out of it, and I fully agree with him, that is the best version. But yeah, like you can definitely see his growth as well, because like it like not like most people aren't born allies. You learn as you go, you'll make mistakes and stuff like that there, but you'll change, and it's nice seeing his change, through his life, through all these little zines and things, and interviews, and as time has gone on, like he knows what he's doing. That's what I'm saying, basically, like So like I say about not giving him brownie, you're not giving him brownie points for just being a basically good human being, but it's still nice, because like a lot of people won't do that.
That also kind of brings up like how important it is to let people grow and like not hold, I found this thing from 20 years ago that you said.
Are we talking about Onky Conkle right now?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, yeah, but also just like in general, like it's important to let and allow people to grow, and like you can't bring up things that they've done in the past and hold it against them when it's clear that they have grown. You know what I mean? Like it would be one thing if Tobias hadn't grown and he was still like set in his ways and saying the kinds of things he was saying when he was a teenager. Okay, yeah, no, we don't want to hang out with that guy. We don't want anything to do with him.
No.
But he did grow, and I think it's really important, like, to acknowledge that and to give people that space, because personally, I'm queer now, but when I was a kid, I didn't know that. All I knew was like what my conservative parents were telling me.
Exactly.
So like, when I was a kid, I said some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
But like, I had room to grow and meet new people and learn new things, and now I am finding out who I am.
And we've got more resources now as well with the internet. Like obviously, I think like me and you, and like because we're all kind of similar ages. Like when the internet was more just Wikipedia and MySpace. Now it's more
Yeah.
you're exposed to different communities and like you understand things a bit more now, and that's probably why our parents struggle with certain things a little bit more, because they're not as online as us. And also, like, it depends on mentalities as well, and like situations where like a lot of people I know that have never moved out their hometowns have certain ways, but because there's people like I've lived in London, I've traveled like places, and you mix with all types of people, and you sort of get like not gain tolerance, but like you just understand things a bit, but like different cultures and stuff a bit better. So your things seem less alien to you, and I think that it makes a massive difference whether you've lived that sort of life, or even if you've just done the same sort of thing but just ventured out online and talking to people online. That also makes a difference. But if you are just very much surrounded by the same neighborhood, the same group of people that you've known all your life, it can cause very a closed-minded attitude.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Like, I know I'm the only American in here right now, so like as far as college goes, like the debt that I accrued to go to college, I will never be able to pay back. But as far as like just getting out of my sphere of influence of like being, high school and my hometown, and meeting new people and seeing new things, and having new experiences, like that almost makes it worth the massive amount of debt that I accrued to get the degree.
No, I agree.
Because you're absolutely right. Getting out there and just meeting new people, talking to different people makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I say the same with me when I moved to university in London. Like, the actual degree means fuck all. It was an art degree, by the way. That says everything you need to know. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a fruity degree to pick in itself anyway. But nevertheless, the actual, although it came with a lot of trauma, the life experience of living somewhere like London, it really opens your mind. And it's like, you go to Camden and you see anyone who dresses like, just themselves, and no one bats an eyelid at you. Because I used to dress kind of weird and sort of quirky. Like, I used to look like especially in like 2013, I was like Noel Fielding's doppelganger. And walking around my small town dressed like that was like, fucking hell, you get like rocks and all sorts of shit thrown at you. But then in London, it was like, you just be yourself and no one turns their head at all. And it's like, oh, okay, the world can be like a more like mixed bag of tricks and more level, which is nice. But yeah, you just learn and grow from that. And then it was funny because when you then later come back, it's like, I know we've kind of sidetracked a little bit here, but still, like, if you come back into a more conservative area, if you come back to a more conservative area, it's like, oh, okay, you realize that how different it is.
Yeah. You kind of like, adjust your tie, get your collar suddenly too tight. What's going on?
Oh, it's the famous for me who was in art schools. Like, I went to a lot of art schools, and you come in and you're like, you're around the neighborhood of the school, and you're like, are they gay or are they in the art school?
In my incidents, it was both.
With the style they have, you're like,
yeah.
You come inside, you're like, fruity.
Yeah, I know, I failed that. All right. So I mean, we've kind of started speaking, Katie, but yeah, Katie, what's your views on all this?
I mean, we've touched on a lot of kind of my experience already, but just coming to Ghost and like being introduced to Ghost by people who were queer, and just knowing already, like, okay, that's when you come into metal, you feel like you have to do a lot of vetting and like background checks on the band, because if they're not sexist or homophobic, then they're white supremacists, So it's like,
oh, this band sounds great. God damn it, they're Nazis. Oh, this band sounds great. Shit, they're racist. This band sounds great. He raped someone?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you feel like you have to do a background check on every band that you are like, oh, they sound cool. Oh shit.
Yeah.
But like Ghost is not like that, like you come and you hear the music and it's great, and the live performance is mind-blowing, and you go do your background check on them and it's like, oh shit, they're clean. um like, oh, they openly support queer people, they openly, like, they're on the stage saying I say gay.
Yeah.
This is new,
He
especially
knows what a
like,
female orgasm is?
what?
Right?
Wow!
Especially like as an American in a very red state, with everything that's going on right now, and when he was saying I say gay, Florida was trying to pass the don't say gay bill.
Mhm.
And just to hear him say that on stage, like I say gay, was like
Chef's
mind
kiss.
blowing. Yeah, like perfect. Amazing. It personally, the idea of Satanism and just being allowed to be who you are has been, like, I know I've probably said this a lot, but life changing. Ghost has literally
Yeah.
been life changing for me, because I was introduced to them when I was 34, and like all of a sudden, I feel like I can be myself,
Oh.
and I knew I was ace for a long time, but it has only been like in the last couple of years that I've realized, oh, I might also be bi. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's been partially due to Ghost influence. But it's
That's
just
lovely.
like, it's comfortable. It's a comfortable place to be. It's a comfortable band to listen to, and it's not to say that like they're not challenging or like it's easy, but like it's a good place. Like
Yeah.
it's a good challenge, like you listen to it and it's like challenging the societal norms. It's not challenging my personhood,
Yeah.
which is again, that's, I feel like you have to be on the lookout for that. And it's just really nice that Ghost isn't like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's like,
Yeah.
it's nice though that you're helping, it's helping you find yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have actually a couple. I've got two questions for you. Like, I hope you don't mind me asking,
Oh,
just
no.
because like, again, more of a learning, so we can all learn here. I always wonder, like, with people who are ace, because obviously the band's quite sexual. Like, how do you find? Do you find that there's a disconnection between your sort of personal feelings and their like sort of hypersexuality and things like that? Or I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, but do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, okay, so I'm demisexual, which means I experience sexual attraction only when I have like a deep personal connection with someone. So like for me personally, it's not that I never experienced sexual attraction. It's only under very specific
Yeah.
circumstances.
Okay.
So it is it's easy to fit it in with how I already experience things,
Okay.
because like the sexuality just apply. I can just apply it where it goes. If that
Right.
makes
Yeah.
Yeah.
sense.
if I can put my 2 cents in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so my partner is asexual and aromantic,
Okay.
and they're a fan of Ghost because obviously I'm autistic. So when I have an hyperfixation, I just share it. And they told me about that subject that for them in their sexuality, it was the idea of like sex and stuff was not funny or not interesting, but was intriguing. You know, like they like the theory, they like the idea. It was the doing the practice. It's just they don't feel the need, they don't feel the envy, and they just like the idea of it. So I feel like
Like the idea on
because
paper.
there's a distance, with the band, it's kind of like that. It's just like reading a fan fiction. It's there's a distance, so the idea is here.
Yeah.
But it stays on the idea ground.
Yeah.
I
The
suppose
theory.
Yeah, I suppose it's that kind of thing. Like the only comparison I can kind of make where I kind of relate is obviously the stuff in like pornography where it's like I like the idea, probably wouldn't ever do it. Like I'll watch it, but it won't do sort of thing. So yeah, I guess maybe that's the sort of thing. But yeah, it's obviously just because it's not something I. Although ironically, I think it's just so again I'm learning here. Is demisexuality on the ace spectrum then?
Yes, it is.
Oh well. I've just learned something about myself then. So
where see that goes back to the previous point. You're constantly learning.
This is the whole point of this podcast. We're learning, and Ghost is teaching us about ourselves. Oh yeah, because I always thought like I'm demisexual as well because I just can't find sexual attraction. You could put literally Gollum and Chris Hemsworth next to me, like with the and I'll see them exactly the same, and in terms of like sexual attractiveness.
Yeah.
Until suddenly one's attractive, like in terms of their personality. Okay, I didn't know that. Oh, I think I vaguely knew, but I wasn't too sure, so I just wanted to clarify on that. But yeah,
that's
like, I suppose, yeah, that makes sense then. And then I guess my second questions were with it's more to do with being an American. It's not actually a question; it's more a statement. I suppose it's like, how do you feel with I imagine, I assume good things with obviously Tobias sort of calling out people like Pence and Trump in like Griffwood and in some of the artistry, like obviously shunning those types of people for some of their extreme viewpoints on things like race and sexuality and all that type of stuff. So like as an American, does that like give you a sense of how do I word this? A comfort, I guess, that it's like, oh, okay, not everyone thinks that these people that are in power are, it's not like it's justifying against their viewpoints, if that makes sense. I can't words.
Yeah, it was very good. It felt very emboldening, especially and if you look at the map when everyone votes in November, and all of Texas is red except for 4 areas are blue. I do live in a blue area.
Okay.
I do live in a blue county, but it's everything is decided by people who voted with the red people. So it is emboldening and it is affirming to have someone who's not here, like on the outside looking in, going, yeah, that's fucked. That's not okay. So it's like, okay, great, good. I'm not crazy. Thank you for supporting me.
That's good.
That is good. Yeah, I always wondered like how, obviously because the guy's Swedish, I'm British, so I don't, we're not there living it, but from an American's point of view, having an outsider kind of call that shit out like on a big platform like Ghost, how that feels.
Yeah, it's great. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, let's go.
Let's the scene.
Yeah.
Gas queen, get it.
Yeah. Right. So Charlie sent me a message and said, "Hello, I sent you this message with my experience about being LGBT and a Ghost fan. I'm bi and trans in brackets. I discovered the band in 2019, but I didn't know at first that they were LGBT friendly. Ghost has helped me with my mental health. It's also helped me a lot with when I discovered the band that was LGBT friendly, especially when they did the Enter Sandman cover. I know that they've got my back and that I could come to the rituals as the real me, that I'm welcome there. Seeing other LGBT flags at rituals, Swiss holding a trans one example, was such a good feeling.
Oh,
This is the same with the cover of Jesus He Knows Me. I've seen a lot of biphobia in the past few months and started to feel really sad because when I went on Twitter to find a safe place and share my interests with people, every day I would see biphobic tweets on the timeline. But with Ghost and Papa making no differences between people no matter their gender, and the lyrics of Jesus He Knows Me, both the studio and live version, it gave me back this feeling that yes, I'm bi and I'm beautiful, and let's not care about the rest. I also met people during the ritual who accept me and don't judge me. It really felt like a home, and I'm so thankful. I think that they have helped a lot of LGBT people to feel better and see if something words and see that sometimes it can be hard to live in this world. Someone has got their back and try to make us smile, feel welcome somewhere, and show us that life can be beautiful and that differences really are beautiful too. This goes also for neurodiversity as a neurodivergent person. Yeah, I wrote a little thing down about this, obviously with Jesus He Knows Me, especially with the lyric change to openly saying the dude I screwed last night. I think that meant a lot to so many people.
Oh yeah. It's just like one of those things where it's like hearing him say it out loud like that. Like, I know it's a cover. He didn't write it, but it's still one of those things where it's like, yes. Copia is bi and very happy about it. And he's letting everybody know about it.
That interview that he did, he was like, well, I wanted to make it gayer.
Exactly.
But I couldn't get permission in time.
Yeah.
But I do. Just like the spirit is out there. I wanted it gayer.
Make it gay. I mean, the music video in itself, I think that made up for it as well.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, we don't want to use Jim DeFrock as like a poster child of like queerness because there's a lot of horrible things that he does, but obviously we stand a bisexual king.
There was a bit of like whiplash watching that music video. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever those hockey players showed up, I was like, "What's happening?" And then I went, "Oh no!"
Can we talk about the fact that Tobe got? I don't know whether he himself did this, but obviously I'm sure he agreed to it. That he actually got actual sex workers on set to give them a job in that. That's so good.
That was so good. And then the whole thing about them being in a union as well. Like they're from a place, like it's one of the few places, I think it's one of the few strip joints in LA that actually has like a union for the strippers. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And then there was like an intimacy coordinator on set just to make sure everyone was fine. I'm like, what? This is beautiful to see. We love to see it.
He's such a chaotic man, but still so respectful towards everyone.
I know, right? How does he have time to remember and think of all like the what's it called? Consideration for everyone else, given that his brain's on like fucking 600 miles per hour.
It's because of the tism.
Yeah.
He'd be saying a thing about one thing, and then like, you know, as he's walking down that street, like, you know, another car will come in. He goes, "Oh yes, that's another thing I need to remember." You know, like.
Yeah. I mean, that might just be ADHD, because that's me.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things where it's like, you know, also I can imagine he has people around him that will also kind of remind him about these things, and he goes, "Oh yeah, sure, go."
Yeah, like, don't forget we need an intimacy coordinator. Oh yeah.
And he's like, "What's that?" And then they explain to him what it is, and he goes, "Cool, get that."
I'll have 12.
No, he's like, you don't need that many. I don't care. Just give me 12 of them. That's cool. No, but I was gonna say, but he did say like he wanted to do more with that video. You know, like there was like he wanted to have like Jim DeFrock get like actually fucked, and then they were like, no, like I think the record label kind of went, no, you're not getting this priest to have actual sex with people, and he's like, oh, fine, he's gonna get jizzed on instead, and he runs out of the room.
Tobias Forge is in his porn director era. Gonna see it on Brazzers, like directed by Tobias Forge.
Oh no.
Okay. Shanti, you're up next.
So I'm pan and gray romantic. So gray romantic means that I'm on the aromantic spectrum, but for me, romance, like I don't typically like feel it for myself. I like the idea and I have felt it before, but in general, I'm fine. I'm fine on my own. I don't really need it. It's having comfort of other people. But um but the thing is that when I found ghosts, was at a time when I was in school. I was having a lot of trouble. It was very like closed up. I didn't really talk about my sexuality. I just kind of like kept to myself. When school ended for me and when I got really into ghosts, I started exploring fashion because when I got more into ghosts, I found all of these fans with all of these clothing styles and all of these like being themselves. And I was like, I want to be like as free as you guys. And I started looking into it and going to rituals, you see all of these people and you're like, oh my god, I feel at home, like these people are so nice. And people will like sometimes actually ask you like, oh, pronouns, and it's like, oh my god, thank you for asking about my pronouns, that's so fucking sweet. Just so you know, it's she, her, they, them, and actually everything else, mainly those two. But like it's so welcoming. And the whole joke of like what ghost does to a person? That's me. Yeah. It was like you saw a picture of me from like a few years ago, and I looked like the most closed up kind of gal. And now I'm like tattoos, piercings, I've colored my hair black. I'm wearing all of these weird clothes. Well, it's not, my clothing style isn't too weird. I'm still exploring, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot more out there compared to when I was like younger. And it's all thanks to Ghost, and it's all thanks to all of these amazing fans. And also like internet. But like the thing also is that when it comes down to the sexual aspect of everything, is that like I'm not afraid to talk about like sex in general or like anything like that, because for me it shouldn't be something that is like, it should be kept behind closed doors. There is limits,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't be like, you shouldn't point fingers at someone for talking about like a woman talking about having sex with another woman. It's like, why should that be a shameful thing? Why is that such a shameful thing to supposedly talk about? It's just sex. It's just it's really nothing more than, like, in my opinion, it's really nothing more than just two bodies being sweaty as hell together. But like it shouldn't be something shameful. And that's so nice about Ghost, is that when you go to a concert, everything's like, it's sexual to a certain level, because there's still like rules when it comes down to concerts.
Oh yeah.
But there's something about it that makes you go like, okay, I shouldn't be ashamed of who I am, the way I dress. Now, I will also say, like, ever since I started wearing the things that I do now, I have noticed, well, I'm like where I'm at, I have noticed that sometimes I get catcalled, and that's something that I haven't felt before. When I was a lot more prudish. So that's, a negative to it all. But it's really nice to hear from of ghosts, like not just Tobias, but also the ghouls behind the masks, being very much against certain things. And it's very nice to feel so welcomed and to hear them saying like, that's what you're doing right there is not, it's not it, it's not like, stop. It's very nice. It's so welcoming. And I have, like, when you go on YouTube, you sometimes come across those videos of groups sometimes stopping music, being like, look guys, this person touched this woman inappropriately, boo them. It's like,
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. It's so nice. It's so nice to feel so welcome. It's not with everyone that you can go through that, but I feel like if something were to, like, I feel like it's not a high possibility with ghosts, but if it were to ever happen, I feel like it will be immediately stopped by
Yeah, for sure.
knowing Tobias. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. That's my side of it all.
Oh,
It's so
cute.
nice. It's so nice to see all of these people and being like like I said it, like I used to be very prudish. I used to be very like closed up. But ever since I got recommended by my therapist to start being a little bit more like show pictures of myself online with like my makeup that I do or like sometimes with my outfits. I used to never do that. And ever since that I started doing that and seeing the comments sometimes, like just one comment being like, "You look fucking fire." I'm like, "You've made my entire fucking day." Like, you've made me so proud of what I just did today, even though it took so much out of me.
Yeah. Mm.
It's really nice. Thank you,
So,
Ghost, for making that a thing.
thanks,
No.
Ghost.
With me and my like gender kind of thing, like I have always been. It's not. It's kind of. I think it's again like always bring it up as probably part of the kind of being Eurospicy. But I never ever felt really comfortable with being just a girl, you know,
Mm.
or just being like a guy or either as well. Like I felt very comfortable kind of floating between the two kind of ideas. And
Mm.
so as I got older, and then obviously as you say, like you learn about like the idea of binary or things like that there. But I was always very, very kind of I present quite feminine, so I was always kind of like I feel a bit a bit weird, not weird, but I felt like a fraud calling myself like non-binary in the sense.
Mm.
But like getting into Ghost and
Mm.
then seeing all this kind of just like the kind of wide range of people that like Ghost and things like that there, and how accepting everybody was of it. It made me feel a lot more comfortable in myself. And like him as well, like you said about the papas and the ghouls and stuff, the way they kind of give off that gender euphoria when you see them and things.
Mm.
Like it kind of made me feel a bit more comfortable in myself with my gender. I was like, oh,
Mm.
I'm not a fraud for like you're not a fraud for feeling a certain way, but you can because growing up in the kind of environment and like kind of stuff that you do, you kind of question things, because like whenever my mum found out I was bisexual, she was like, "Have you even kissed a girl?" And I was like, "What?"
I hate that. 'Cause it's like when you're
and you're
6, it's like, oh, Will, have you ever kissed a guy to know you're straight? It's like, no, I'm 6.
yeah, yeah,
Ew.
Oh.
So
Freaking
it's
rude.
yeah, it's like I love my mum to bits, like, but it was just sometimes things like that there because but yeah, like being being part of the ghost community and being around so many kind of supportive people has made me feel very much more kind of confident and comfortable in myself in like that's only since September as well, so it's been great.
Yeah.
You
And it
know, so
happens
it's
at
like
any age as well. Like, you haven't got to be like
yeah,
18 years old to figure this out. It can happen.
yeah. Well, I've known I've been bisexual like my entire life because I remember when I was really young and just being like, being like attracted to all these different people. And I remember we were talking. I think I was about 8, and then we were talking about like which celebrities do you find hot? And I said Angelina Jolie, and
Mm.
everybody looked at me like I had just said like Miss Piggy, and
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
does
Oh.
not it was like, does not everybody find Angelina Jolie really pretty? No, okay, I'm just gonna be over here. Justin Timberlake, and move on. Like but yeah, like I've always known that that I'm bisexual and things like that. There, which was great growing up. Whenever your parents didn't know, I'm wanting to put up like a poster of a sexy lady and being like, but she's Buffy, it's Sarah Michelle
Yeah.
Gellar, like. It's like, oh, sure, you can put it up. I'm like,
Oh my god.
and it's only going up because she's Sarah Michelle Gellar. It's not because I think she's really hot. But yeah, but kind of coming to terms with being non-binary is a thing. Like I'm 35, And it's still one of those things where it's like, I don't, it's like gender's very hard. It's because you learn, you grow again, like you discover stuff about yourself. The only time you stop discovering stuff about yourself is when you die. So,
pretty much.
it's free reign until you get there. So.
Yeah. Oh. Well, Raymond actually sent in this. They said, hey, long story short, 2 years ago, I came out as trans female to male. I'm struggling a lot with expressing myself since I didn't really know what I was doing. When I found Ghost, however, I realised that I was in love with the whole dark satanic aesthetic it has. Because of Ghost, I started dressing a little bit more goth, emo, punk. It's still an ongoing debate with my friends which one it is. And this only grew more when I found Mary Gore. Then when Tobias was openly supportive... Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah.
Same, buddy, same.
Then when Tobias was openly supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, I realised that I shouldn't have to hide anything, though, and I just went for it. Now I make little children cry and just listen to a silly little rat man sing about Satan. Oh, I love you, Raymond, whoever you are.
I love that. I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Mary Gore will do that to a bitch. It will.
Yeah. Gender.
We're coming for your gender, Mary.
Yeah. Hey, Alana, where can we find you on the socials?
I am on Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr. It's still Twitter. I don't care what Elon Musk tells me, but I'm there. Under HXE Fairy, which is spelled HXEFAIRY.
All right, Nid.
You can find me on Twitter at Nidlid, and you can find me on Instagram at Stormagenistark.
Katie, where can we find you?
I am just on the Twitters at CQMA.
Who am I on? Shanti?
I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok under Cardi Ratia.
Yeah. All right, I'm Elva. You know where I am. I'm on the X now, apparently, since Muskie decided that that's a thing. So yeah, you can find me on there. But yeah, next week I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll be there next week.
We'll be talking.
We'll be talking. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.